Hi, welcome to Football of Everything, and here's another top 10 video for the day. Today's list is going to be based on top 10 players who didn't reach their full potential in the last decade. So hopefully y'all stick around. Don't forget, comment, like, subscribe, and don't forget, share this video with as many people as possible, okay? Let's get this list going. It's a top 10 list, and it's a top 10 list for a reason. Let's start off with the criteria. First in the list is how valuable this player was for the team. Second is hype/expectation. Did this player have Cristiano Ronaldo hype? Iniesta hype? Was he the golden child? That's the things we're talking about when we say expectations. What was the hype around this player at the time? And at number 3 is this player must have played for a big club. So we won't be mentioning Kaizer Chiefs or Pirates or any of the Egyptian teams or teams that are playing for Brazil, respectfully, Greece. We only want big clubs. Big European clubs to be specific. Hopefully I haven't offended anybody yet, but if I did, just know that this is going to be a very, very long video. And fourth but not last, personal preference. This list was combined by myself, KG, and my partner in crime, TG, and we came up with this list. Starting off at number 10, Leroy Sane, the German winger who used to terrorize fullbacks in the Premier League. Sane was electric, Sane was exciting. None of this doku stuff. Only time they perform is when they're going against fullbacks that are 30 years old and older. Sane was the guy, Sane was problematic, so you can only imagine Pep's surprise when this man said he wants to go back to Germany. So this man ended up going back to Germany. He went to Bayern, but him going to Bayern and taking the jersey number 10, basically taking Robin's number, you would think that Sane was somehow going to improve his game. Sane was actually going to elevate where now he can be the main man, he can be the main guy. This team can be built around him. Was that initially a good idea? In theory, yes. Did it turn out to be the best? No. Looking at his time in Germany, just looking at the stats compared to the Man City stats, there's not much growth at all. Sane played 197 games for Bayern, scored 55 goals and had 52 assists. Now compare that to his Man City numbers and tell me that this player has grown and developed as a player. For Man City, Sane played 135 games, 39 goals, 43 assists. Tell me, do you see a huge difference between the Sane that played for Man City compared to the Sane that played for Bayern Munich? Bayern basically bought a less potent version of Sane. Obviously, there were injuries during the time in Bayern, but let's just be honest, he didn't live up to the hype and didn't live up to the expectations at all.
Coming in at number 9 is Philippe Coutinho. Coutinho went from Liverpool talisman to Barcelona record signing, and this move was meant to elevate his career, but he really struggled to fit in. A lot of Barca fans, including myself, seen Coutinho as being the next Iniesta in the perfect replacement, but he was loaned out multiple times. He struggled to fit in and never really clicked with Barcelona. He scored 22 goals in 106 appearances and never seemed really to do anything in a Barcelona jersey quite memorable. It is definitely a confusing one because Coutinho's move to Barcelona seemed like the right move. It seemed like all the places were there, all the pieces fit the puzzle, but he never really found it clicking. Was it Barcelona's system? Was it a Barcelona side that was still struggling to find and figure themselves out? There's a lot of questions to be asked, but Coutinho's potential never really reached the heights we've seen him at when he played at Liverpool, and he kind of just fell off from there. So that's exactly why he's on this list, coming in at number 9.
At number 8, we have star boy Rashford. Honestly, this might be the first surprise for most people in this list. Why is Marcus Rashford in this list and why is he number 8? Okay, people, let me put this in context for you. Rashford was an academy player. He was the star boy. He came from the academy. He's been playing for Manchester United since he was 7 years old. We all remember that first debut he had against Liverpool at Old Trafford, how sensational he was. But he was also a victim of Manchester United's downfall. That's what most people would say, but other people would say that Rashford did not step up, Rashford did not live up to the hype. They gave Rashford the keys, and to be honest with you, maybe they gave him the keys a little bit too soon. Maybe they gave him the keys when he was not ready. You need to think about it. Rashford, the only season Rashford had where he held down Manchester United by himself, where he was the main guy, like he was always portrayed in the beginning, and that was the 2022/2023 season. See, that was the season where Rashford was the guy. That's where he lived up to the expectations, and it was seeming like, yes, this is star boy Rashford. He actually might get a Ballon d'Or. But shortly after that season, Rashford resorted back to his normal settings. Tell me how someone can have the best season of their life. 56 appearances, 30 goals, 9 assists. That's a man on form. That's a man on fire. The very next season, Marcus Rashford had 43 appearances, 8 goals, 5 assists. How do you reach the mountain heights and then the next minute you reach the lowest lows? That just shows that that's just Marcus Rashford. He's not good enough to be the main guy for Manchester United. He is a good player, but he was never meant to be great. Never meant to be great for Manchester United, to say the least.
Coming in at number 7, we have Golden Boy winner of 2019, the most expensive Portuguese player of all time, Joao Felix. He signed for Atletico Madrid looking like the perfect player, and he was potentially the next up. But Joao Felix struggled to adapt to Simeone's defensive system. He had multiple falling outs with Diego Simeone, and he does show flashes of brilliance when he was at Barca on loan, at Chelsea on loan. Now back at Chelsea, he never really looks like he can sustain his form from 2019. Overall, he scored 35 goals in 131 games for Atletico Madrid, but time will tell if Joao Felix can live up to the hype and that price tag that Atletico Madrid put on him. Personally, I am a huge Joao Felix fan, and I would love to see him succeed. I don't really know the type of football that would suit his playing style. I don't really know what team suits him best. I just think that Joao Felix needs to find himself. He is still very young, and we can see a solid player hopefully in the future. But for now, Joao Felix comes in at number 7 on failed players who didn't really reach or live up to their potential.
At number 6, we have Dele Alli, Jude Bellingham before Jude Bellingham. Dele Alli was rocking there in the championship playing from MK Dons. The main reason why most people say that Dele Alli was Jude Bellingham before Jude Bellingham, because he literally was. The talent level was ridiculous, both coming from the championship to the big leagues. Literally, that's what happened. Dele Alli from the championship went to Tottenham, was cooking for Tottenham, cooking massively. Seemed like he had the world on his hands. This was a world-class talent. Some way, somehow, Dele Alli was the guy, the wonder kid. And then it just went all left. Dele Alli went from being the wonder kid, the next guy, scoring goals not only for Tottenham, not only for England, but he just faded away. Just like that. After a few years, we realized that Dele Alli actually went through a lot of personal issues in his life, a lot of personal things he was dealing with that affected his on-the-pitch performance. But in his second season of Tottenham, Dele Alli won the PFA Young Player of the Season award. In his first season, he had 10 goals, 10 assists. In his second season, he had 22 goals, 12 assists. In his third season, he had 14 goals, 15 assists. See, that was a serious player right there. That was a serious wonder kid. Just to think about it, he joined Tottenham when he was only 19, but he elevated, but just could not keep going. Dele Alli was one of those players that we always think about and say, man, what if, man? Just based on his stats alone, what if he just kept going? Damn.
Coming in at number 5 is a player so close to my heart, and he was honestly dubbed the next Messi when he was coming up in the ranks, Paulo Dybala. He was brilliant for Juventus at times. He showed such potential. Personally for me, Dybala on form matched the likes of Neymar, Hazard, Sanchez, Salah. He was at that level, but injuries and inconsistencies really held him back. If you look at his stats, 105 goals and 48 assists in 293 games for Juventus with 5 Serie A titles, that looks like a very, very good career. But we all know Dybala's stats and the way he plays are very different. We know the type of player he could have been, and we know what should have been for Paulo Dybala. He never really lived up to his expectations. And now at Roma, he did win the Europa League in the 2022-23 season, but still struggling to find his form. Injuries still plague him. But hopefully we'll see the Dybala that I know exists. This is a player very close to my heart, and I hope that he can really succeed in the future. Paulo Dybala comes in at number 5 on players who fail to reach their potential.
At number 4, we have Ansu Fati. Now listen here, this is the guy that was supposed to replace the guy. Some people scored Lionel Messi. Ansu Fati popped up in the scene with a lot of pressure on his back already. He came in the scene at a time where Barcelona was a complete mess. Messi just left and he said his goodbyes. He was crying there. He had to go to Neymar and PSG there in France, and he had to go do his thing. Here comes this other wonder kid that was playing for Barcelona B, that was cooking in their potential, and they were like, hey guys, we all think this is the solution right here. Ansu Fati was the name. Ansu Fati was considered to be the solution to a point where they gave him the jersey number 10. I know most people know that was a horrible move, but that was the high expectations for him. Honestly, once the injuries started kicking in, the injuries really started kicking in, and it basically ended his career, or let's say his career of potential of him being really, really good like he was in his younger days. Look, we all disagree that, or we all agree that he should have never had the jersey number 10. That is true. But the way he was balling out of control, you could tell that this player right here has a super high ceiling. If it wasn't for the injuries at all, not saying that he was going to live up to the expectations, because I think they were a little bit too high, honestly, but he was going to be really a special player if it wasn't for the injuries. It's just super sad that it turned out very differently.
Coming in at number 3 is none other than Paul Pogba. Paul Pogba's return to Manchester United came with sky-high expectations. He is a World Cup winner and honestly one of the record transfers in world football. Everything seems to be perfect when Paul Pogba makes his return to Manchester United. He is honestly undeniably talented. Paul Pogba is one of those players where you even question if he did reach his potential or if he didn't. But he's on this list because of his inconsistent performances, and honestly, his injury defined his second spell at United. So 39 goals and 51 assists in 233 games for United doesn't really justify Paul Pogba's role for the club. He never really looked like he did for the French team. He never reached the heights that he performed for France. So if he could replicate his international performance on a club stage, I don't think he'd be on this list. But Paul Pogba just never really reached the heights we thought he would, which is why he comes in at number 3. Coming in at number 2 is another Manchester United stellar signing, 85 million. That was the transfer fee in 2001 to Manchester United. This gave Jadon Sancho 12 goals in 82 appearances for the club. Sancho was a superstar at Dortmund, and his move to United has been so underwhelming, and he's honestly yet to rediscover his form. We see glimpses of him at Chelsea. We see all of this, but Jadon Sancho still just doesn't seem like the player he was at Dortmund, which is why he comes in at number 2 on this list.
At number 1, we have Mario Gotze. We all know when this person was on fire, he was on fire. If I talk about the 2014 World Cup, one person for the most part pops up in your brain. It is Mario Gotze. It is that extra time German. He popped up out of nowhere and he took that opportunity with both hands. If I'm not mistaken, this man ended up even being the FIFA cover, for goodness sake. That was the amount of hype that he had during that time period. And he had the talent to back it up, honestly. He used to play for Dortmund. He was a really good player for Dortmund. And after the amazing performance he had there in the final by scoring the winning goal for Germany, you would have thought that Mario Gotze was the next guy, the James Rodriguez, in the way that he's going to be the next guy in the chopping block. James Rodriguez before James Rodriguez. That was Gotze for you. But unfortunately, like a lot of people in this list, injuries that played a huge part in him not reaching his full potential. He ended up going to Bayern. He was okay. He was good. He ended up picking 1 or 2 injuries, and then it just was not the same. Gotze was not the same. Bayern brought him to be the future. He just did not live up to the hype. He went to Bayern and he was like a version of his old self. He was not the best version of Gotze for me was the Gotze that played for Dortmund, not the one that played for Bayern, respectfully.
Well, that wraps up our top 10 players who failed to reach their potential. From Gotze to Sane, these players had talent and the platform, but fell short of becoming the legends they were meant to be. Do you agree with our list? Would you add or remove anyone? Let us know in the comments, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and share the episode with your football-loving friends. This has been FOE's top 10 players who failed to reach their potential. Catch you on the next one.